Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Obi-Wan, Kenobi. Yes, we return once again to the wonderful world of an alternate universe where Obi-Wan Kenobi is incapable, scared, and apparently has lost all memory of who he was, what he could do, etc. And that tradition continues in episode 4. Which I call Revenge of the Stupid. Who's joining me this morning before I get into the review, such as it is? Jaeger Pony, Texas Attorney General, Secret Agent, Non-Vitae Rex, Noah Asensio, Star Saver, Burgid, and Pie Guy 07. Good morning. All right. Well, first off, we have a recap of the last episode. And I want to highlight this particular scene here. I know it's a little dark. That's just how the whole show is. The lighting is terrible. But if you'll recall, at the end of episode 3, Tala, the secret, not quite rebel on the mining planet, because the rebellion hadn't really started yet, but apparently the Underground Railroad for Jedi was in full swing, abandoned Leia, right? Abandoned a 10-year-old child to go help Obi-Wan, a Jedi Master, because obviously a Jedi Master needs help from a gun-toting lady rebel. And if you can believe it, abandoning a 10-year-old child to run around in a dark hallway wasn't a good idea. We'll get back to that later. But here specifically, I want you to look at this. So the whole idea was the end of this tunnel led to a pilot and a ship that would take Leia home. But this is also the ship that has been used apparently to shuttle rogue Jedi or runaway Jedi to Jabiim, the Jedi underground homeworld. The pilot is conceivably dead. And this, if you can see a little boot there, this is Reva, the Inquisitor, and there's Leia. Now, somehow Reva went from the beginning of the tunnel and found her way all the way around to where the tunnel terminated somehow, infiltrated the hangar or whatever where the ship is, although we never see the ship because, why establish any shots or anything, and then killed the pilot of the ship. Why? You have a zillion stormtroopers and the other Inquisitors and Darth Vader. Why not arrest him for interrogation? If for some reason you had to kill him, which makes no sense, why not use your mind power to suck the information out of his head as to who he is, what he's doing there, where he was headed? Those questions and more will arise again as we proceed through this episode. So let me get past the opening sequence here. So Obi-Wan wakes up all groggy, already on a ship. What ship? I'm assuming the ship that the pilot that we just saw who was killed was going to take them to Alderaan or Jabiim or whatever. Now, something else I want to remind everybody, because there's a whole bunch of internal logic and in-universe consistency that is wholly ignored in this episode, as has been in the others, but more so in this one. When the Empire shows up at a planet looking for something, what do they usually bring with them? Well, we know from the very first scene in the very first Star Wars movie, they're called Star Destroyers. And these Star Destroyers have TIE fighters in them. And so if Obi-Wan Kenobi is known to be on a planet, how many Star Destroyers, how many support ships do you think the Empire, the Galactic Empire, would commit to conceivably capturing and or killing Obi-Wan Kenobi? Jedi Master, perhaps second only to Yoda at the point in the movie at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Well, almost literally. Apparently none, because so Tala and Cargo Droid, which we don't see again in this episode for some reason, even though he was integral in actually picking up Obi-Wan and carrying him to the ship, because obviously Tala was not physically capable of carrying a prone Obi-Wan Kenobi off to the ship, even though Darth Vader was 5 feet away and could have just captured them through the flames. Whatever. Anyway, this ship gets off of the mining planet without issue, apparently. Or if there is an issue, we don't see it because we just see it from Obi-Wan's perspective of him being unconscious. So yeah, Star Destroyers, Imperial blockade, TIE fighters, I guess they're just not an issue. Not an issue at all. Anyway, so Obi-Wan is sleeping and he wakes. Here's the droid. The droid did show up. Okay. See, this is how meaningful they made this character's presence in the course of the story. And his only reason for being there was because she is physically incapable of carrying a grown man off the battlefield. A very G.I. Jane moment. Anyway, so they're now on Jabiim with all of these people. Look at all of these people who now know that Obi-Wan Kenobi is not only alive, but they know where he is. Because, you know, the Empire doesn't have spies anywhere or anything. Yeah, let's just carry him out in the open of all these people. Also, where are the aliens? This is something that somebody pointed out, and you know, in the rush of stupidity of the last couple episodes, we have seen very few alien species. We didn't see many, if any, aliens in Tatooine, which is bizarre, considering the cantina scene that was made famous in the first Star Wars movie. One of the few alien species we've seen so far was that truck driver from the last episode. Everybody else has been human in a vast and diverse galaxy. So anyway, a whole bunch of humans and this droid carry Obi-Wan, who is obviously helpless and injured, off to a Bacta tank. And so we spend a minute or 3 of Obi-Wan in a Bacta tank healing from his burn wounds, even though his entire face should be burned off, his hair should be singed, his mustache should be gone, his eyebrows should be gone. Everything on and around his face should be at least either gone or singed all to heck because he was dragged head first through a flaming field. But oh well. Anyway, so he's in the Bacta tank and he has like these psychic flashes, I guess, to also Anakin and his Bacta tank. And then we have more audio flashbacks to dialogue from previous episodes. It's like, the years have made you weak, as they fight, and Obi-Wan gets his ass just absolutely taken down. Anyway, so they're in some kind of cave thing, because that's where you set up a medical station in a dusty old cave. We're on Jabiim. You're safe now. Oh, thank goodness I was saved again by someone who teleported from one place to another and abandoned Leia. Remember, guys, Tala abandoned Leia. She left her to fend for herself with an entire contingent of Imperial stormtroopers and inquisitors roaming around. Anyway, so Obi-Wan's out of the tank, and then we jump back to Nur. This is the name of the planet. I didn't know this. This is some lore I wasn't aware of. The planet is called Nur, and this is Fortress Inquisitorius. Okay, giant water planet with, I guess this is the only major feature on it. So back at the Imperial base, 10-year-old Princess Leia is being held. You can't keep me here. My father is Bail Organa. He's a senator. Yeah, it would be kind of a bad idea, wouldn't it? That's cute, says Reva. You have no rights here, princess. Remember, we're talking to a 10-year-old, right? We have adults in the room. We're talking to a 10-year-old. And here's the other thing. The Inquisitors are terrible at their jobs. Terrible at their jobs. How do I know they're terrible at their jobs? Here is the daughter of Anakin Skywalker, who by Disney's reckoning is force sensitive. Maybe not as powerful as Luke Skywalker, but she's force sensitive. And no one can tell this. Professional force-using hunters can't tell that she's even the tiniest bit force sensitive. Okay, anyway, so Reva proceeds to quasi-interrogate a handcuffed 10-year-old about where the Jedi are and where were they going. And she's like, nobody's coming for you. You've been abandoned, just like the Jedi always abandon people. She's got abandonment issues, guys, if you hadn't figured that out. Anyway, so Leia's being interrogated with a hot light by a grown adult 10-year-old. Back on planet Jabiim, or underground planet. I forget exactly how this conversation went, but they've got a guy here. She's saying, I know you're upset, but I mean it. Too many people are looking for you. Really? Too many people are looking for exiled Jedi? Huh. Imagine that. On the planet of the Underground Railroad for Jedi, there are a lot of people looking for Jedi, and suddenly this is a problem. How many people are too many? The entire Empire? The entire Inquisitorius? Doesn't that apply to every other Jedi? Oh, but okay, too many people are looking for Obi-Wan, and how dare you, Tala, bring him here? Every kid making a rock float from here to Coruscant is in danger. Really? Well, Leia's sitting there. She's got latent force powers, and nobody's detected her. Luke Skywalker is basically the chosen one, and nobody detected him when the entire Inquisitorius was on Tatooine. Boy, the Inquisitors suck. Anyway, Obi-Wan's like, she's been kidnapped. I need your help to get her back. And the guy is like resistant for a second in doing this, and he makes the immediate heel turn when Obi-Wan starts talking about she's just a little girl. He's like, I had a family, and then the Inquisitors took them. I'll help you. It's like this completely false moment of drama with a character who I've never seen before. We never see again, at least, well, not to the very end of the episode. Anyway, yeah, so apparently one of his kids, or his wife was force sensitive. We tried to hide it, but they found us. So now I will help you. If you want my help, you got it. For some reason, this character decides to put up resistance against finding Leia, when first he's all pissed off that Obi-Wan is here, but then being reminded that his wife was force sensitive and the Inquisitors took her or killed her. Now he changes his mind. It's the most ridiculously thin moment of drama conflict ever. There's nothing there. So anyway, then they start to do their caper plan. It's Nur. It's a water moon. And then where's the? Can I find the right frame here? It's hard to find the right frame in this thing. Okay, so Nur, the water planet, is in the same system as Darth Vader's palace planet Mustafar. Okay, so Mustafar, the moon on which Darth Vader got burned and everything, that all exists in the same system as this Inquisitorius space. So there's a water planet and a lava planet in the same system. All right. In the course of this conversation, they say they know the existence of this place. They don't have any plans. They have no idea what it looks like on the inside. I want you to remember that. They have no idea what it looks like. They have no schematics for the place. They only know its outer shape. Also, pay attention to this guy. This guy's the most important character ever. Oh my God, it's Wade. You know about Wade? Oh my gosh, guys, let me tell you about Wade. He's super important. Trust me. You want to attach your heart to this guy. We see him for about 5 seconds. Just so you know, it's Wade. Okay? Wade going to the water planet. Anyway, so somehow, and God, one of them asks, do we know where Vader is? Our intel shows he's still on his ship, but he's close. He's on his ship, you say. What? The Executor? Which ship at this point? No, I guess this would be his Star Destroyer. What was the name of his Star Destroyer? I forget all of a sudden. And the Executor was his Super Star Destroyer. Anyway, he's on his ship, but he's close. Close to what? Close to you? Close to Nur? How long does it take to get from point A to point B through hyperspace? Not long. He's still on his ship. Okay, whatever that means. So they're guessing as to what's inside this thing. Probably got a command center, a training facility. Yeah, but you don't have the schematics, you don't have the layout, you don't know anything about it. But okay, you're going to break into this place. We need to find a way inside. You don't say. She's 10 years old. Yeah, we know. We know. And so their plan is that Tala, the Imperial officer who just, last episode, gunned down 4 stormtroopers, discarded her Imperial outfit, and then rescued Obi-Wan from Darth Vader within eyesight, and apparently was not noticed having gone missing. She's going to use her credentials to get them into this place. Somehow. Obi-Wan even asks, is your cover still viable? And she's like, I guess we'll find out. Well, there's a good plan. I don't know. I mean, I could show up and walk right in, or I could show up and be immediately caught and killed. I guess we'll find out. So they travel to the water planet. And look, guys, at an Imperial stronghold planet where the Inquisitorius is, no Imperial ships. Wow, no Star Destroyers, no TIE fighters, no Lancet frigates, right? No Victory class Star Destroyers, no Interceptors or Interdictors. No, nothing. Around an Imperial planet at the height of the Empire. No, this little ship just goes zoom. Just zooms on in. It's fine. And while on the ship, Obi-Wan practices his force. I am not kidding you. This little communicator thing or whatever it is, he strains to move it across the table. It shows him struggling to move this little thing across the table. Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, champion of the Force, he's impotent. For all intents and purposes, they have made Obi-Wan impotent. Anyway, so he's looking all down and out and, hopeless and depressed because he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He doesn't have any kind of inner strength. He doesn't have any kind of inner faith in the Force or himself. No, this is depressed Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is Mopey-Wan Kenobi. Mopey-Wan Kenobi. Your body is not the only thing that needs to heal, Ben. Oh, I forgot. One of the most important things. I think it happened back in this scene with Leia. So up to this point, I had been very generous, and you'll hear it in the last review stream, in trying to imagine that Princess Leia did not know that her rescuer's name was Obi-Wan Kenobi. He just called himself Ben, and everybody around him called him Ben or didn't say his name out loud. And so I was, for some reason, willing to extend the benefit of the doubt that Leia Organa had no knowledge or, reference to the name Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because otherwise, her message to Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first movie, A New Hope, would make absolutely no sense. Except that when Reva comes into the room to first interrogate Leia, in order to dissuade Leia of thinking that she has a chance, she says to her, Obi-Wan is dead. And Leia looks all sad. So there is no doubt now. There's no room for maneuvering at all. Leia knows the name Obi-Wan and associates it with a person that she knows personally now. Okay? Just to make that clear. So short of them somehow erasing her mind and memories by the end of this series, which would be stupid. There you go. So there's no confusion now. There's no need to keep calling yourself Ben. Everybody knows you're Obi-Wan Kenobi. If the wanted posters weren't enough. Anyway, so Tala gives Obi-Wan a pep talk because, Obi-Wan Kenobi needs a pep talk. He can't find any inner strength. He has no Nothing. No, he's done, guys. He's done. Without Tala to cheer him up, he's just given up, guys. That's just it. Now, remember, why are we on this mission? Because Tala abandoned Leia. This is the person responsible for the capture of a 10-year-old. She went off, teleported last episode to save Obi-Wan, and abandoned a 10-year-old surrounded by the Empire. She is at fault here. No one ever brings that up. No one ever brings that up. Why are we here? You abandoned her, lady. You did. Obi-Wan shouldn't be he shouldn't be mopey. He should be upset. She should be recriminated for it. Never happens. Never happens. And Obi-Wan's like, some things can't be forgotten. And I'm assuming we're talking about all of the Jedi being killed or his fight with Anakin or something. Whatever. Anyway, then you're going to have to try, she says. Obi-Wan, you need to pick yourself up. You're going to have to get past this, Obi-Wan. We have a job to do. We have a little girl to save, Obi-Wan. Jeez, you big sack of sad. Jeez. All right, so Leia's still handcuffed, and Reva is still interrogating her and trying to find out what she knows. And so she knows something about a safe house. Some call it the Path. Wow, she knows quite a bit. And then she smacks down the carving, one of the carvings from the safe house. Remember last episode when I said, golly, isn't it a stupid idea to carve your name as a Jedi into a way station safe house for a underground Jedi railroad on the off chance that maybe the Empire would show up and then have some kind of clue as to the route you took? Yeah. Wasn't that stupid of them? Well, it still is stupid. Anyway, she took out part of the wall that had the Jedi symbol on it and put it down in front of Leia as though a 10-year-old who was born before, just as the Jedi were falling, would have any reference for this. And she's talking to her like she knows something. And she just keeps, like, berating this little kid. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, I keep jumping back to the con man in episode 2. Like, why don't you just use your mind reading powers on her? She's a 10-year-old, right? Why didn't you use your mind reading powers on the pilot? Again, the pilot that was going to be taking them away from that planet, and she just killed him without interrogating him. And instead decides to opt for the 10-year-old. So Reva's like, tell me where the path is. You can go home to your family. Right? Even though they had access to the ship that was going to take them away from the mining planet and could have just, I don't know, taken apart its records and its navicomputer and all types of stuff. Yeah, anyway. Just tell me where it is. This can all be over. I don't know anything about a path. Well, let's think a little bit harder, shall we? Okay. Yeah. Reva. Really putting it to that 10-year-old little girl. Wow, what a hero. What a role model, huh? Anyway, so this little ship, the little shuttle with Tala on it, lands inside the fortress. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, how are they going to get Obi-Wan in? He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, of all the people in the Empire who should know Obi-Wan Kenobi on sight, if you're going to say that every other Imperial trooper that has run into Obi-Wan to this point was just oblivious to one of the most wanted men in the galaxy, how's he going to get in here? Well, he doesn't. No, Tala gets off the ship by herself. She just walks in. Now remember, no one knows what this place's layout is. They don't know the security measures. They don't know the personnel. They don't know the layout. They don't know how many floors there are. They have no knowledge of this place. And Tala just walks right in. And she hits the security checkpoint, and she's stopped. He says, no admittance without clearance. Okay, well, she certainly has no clearance. right? She's not supposed to be here. She doesn't belong here. So, in the absence of actual clearance, the Empire lets her in because she talks down to the guy. He says, "This isn't your sector. I can't let you through." And she's like, "Who are you?" "I am the lead on this security level." Remember, surrounded by other Imperial officers and soldiers. And she's, "You will call me sir because I'm your superior." "Perhaps I should just inform the Grand Inquisitor of your insolence." Oh, the Grand Inquisitor. Really? You mean the guy who, as far as we know, is either dead or incapacitated? So you're going to name drop the Grand Inquisitor, and that's it? That's all she had to do, guys. That's it. She just had to name the Grand Inquisitor. Not even name, just give his title. For your insolence. His insolence? What insolence? He's doing his job. You do not get past without clearance. You don't have clearance, so I'm acting as a security officer. And he buckles. He's like, oh, please don't tell the Grand Inquisitor on me, ma'am. I'll let you through. And she walks through because, boy, she just zened that moment, guys. Boy, she just aced it. She aced it, guys. Man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I never thought that the Empire was particularly perfect in all ways, shapes, and forms. Obviously, see Stormtrooper aiming ability. But at the same time, if this is one of the most high-tech, secure, and obviously populated Imperial strongholds, she just walks on through without checking anything. Okay, anyway, she walks into, again, she has no idea what the layout of this place is, supposedly, but she just walks to some kind of comm center information thing, and she sits down. Remember, she's an officer, and she's sitting down at some kind of information station like some kind of, I don't know, rookie. And she has a communicator. She's sitting 6 feet away from this guy, and she has a communicator, and she starts whispering into it to Obi-Wan. "All right, I'm inside the system. Here we go." Okay, so she was able to hack into the system of this place with her security clearance, which isn't actually clearance because she's not actually assigned to this facility. She just showed up from another sector and just waltzed on in. Okay, sure, whatever. Now, where is Obi-Wan? Well, apparently she dropped him off in the ocean at some point, and this entire time he's just been hanging out underwater, waiting for her to call. Underwater. Somehow. So she tells him that there's an entrance right ahead of him, because when she dropped him off in the water, she would know what side of this gigantic building to drop him off in. And then, without giving him any directions, and also somehow knowing where he is, and without the Empire detecting any of this, she directs him to an entrance that she just knows is there. And so he swims and finds this opening underneath for reasons that make no sense, but whatever. Anyway, so then he's inside the facility, and he knocks out a stormtrooper, and he's walking around, and then Leia is being mind probed by the Inquisitor. Oh my gosh, the thing I've been talking about this whole time, she's finally doing it. Now, what do you think happens? What do you think happens? Nope, she's trying. The bravery, she can't do it. She says, "You're strong." Strong? Really strong in anything in particular? Is there some reason that a 10-year-old can resist your mind probe powers? A little bit odd that a 10-year-old could resist your trained force abilities. I wonder why that, gosh, I wonder if there's some reason for that, plot-wise or in-universe-wise, that might account for that. Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, she starts saying, you're braver than you seem. I learned at a very young age that bravery is good, something, da-da-da-da-da. And then we show that she has the droid. Reva has this is important. I didn't notice its importance at the time. This is very important. Reva has little Lola. Because Lola, let's see if I can find the frame here. Probably not. So Leia's sitting here, and then Lola comes out of her pocket, goes under the table. Yeah, here's it coming out of the pocket. Because apparently the Empire did not search the 10-year-old ahead of time, did not notice this. It wasn't detected at all. So anyway, the droid comes out of the pocket and then tries to attack Reva. And then Reva captures it and is just kind of playing with it. And she starts reminiscing about, I used to have a droid like this, but it was taken from me, like everything else. Aww. Am I supposed to feel sorry for the grown adult who's terrorizing a 10-year-old child? No. Back at the comm station, suddenly Tala is like, God, look at this place. Yes, look at this place. This place you had no idea of its layout until just now, apparently. Yes, it is a giant place. It is a huge facility. I mean, one would think you get lost in this place, right? Well, just remember, for the most of this episode, Tala does not leave this room in this giant facility. Okay? Just remember this. I know it'll become important later. So, like, God, look at this place. It's huge. What are they keeping down there? They've got some, big prison thing somewhere in the basement, right? In the basement where she is not right now. Okay, just remember, Tala is down there. She's talking about some location other than where she is. I don't know. What could a bunch of Jedi hunters be keeping in their basement? Anyway, detention areas in a secure sector. Oh, is it? Well, you could have fooled me as we proceed, because it sure doesn't seem like much security. He whispers to her, there's a seeker droid. He's still talking to her in his little comlink thing, and she's still talking to him in her comlink thing with Imperial guards within earshot. So he dodges the security droid, and then, Mr. Man comes and says, this isn't your station. Oh, really? That's your statement? Not like, who are you? Nobody else noticed this ahead of time, that she shouldn't be there? And he's like, come with me. And she leaves her comlink on the table with Obi-Wan's voice coming out of it. Tala, are you there? Tala. Remember, there's a guy sitting over to the side here. There's a stormtrooper just standing over there. Okay, yeah, so anyway, Tala then takes down and incapacitates a grown man, because, that's what happens. Obi-Wan is still running around in the tunnels, trying to avoid the seeker droid. Oh, but he's caught by the seeker droid. The seeker droid's going to find him. Uh-oh, guys. He's going to be found by the seeker droid. Seeker droid's just like, oh, well, and wanders off. And we cut back to the information station where Tala is still terminal officer grunting. She's still taking him down while Obi-Wan's like, Tala, are you there? So Obi-Wan has to avoid a couple of stormtroopers walking down the hallway. And if you can believe it, right? So he's sitting here and he's waiting. He's trying to get past the stormtroopers. Tala comes back, grabs the communicator after physically taking down the officer and just leaving him here. He's just sitting between these rows of computer banks or whatever. She didn't hide the body or anything. She just left him lying on the floor. Remember, there's a stormtrooper over here. Remember, there's this other operator guy over here. Yeah, anyway. So she says, Ben, are you there? And the stormtroopers are like, did you hear that? Yeah, real professionals here. Anyway, they start turning around looking for Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan's like, uh-oh. And then Obi-Wan, with pain on his face, with a valiant effort. He raises his strength to use the Jedi mind trick to distract them. You know, that thing that Obi-Wan in episode 4 would just sort of like casually wave his hand at them for? You know, that thing on the Death Star where Obi-Wan would just kind of like point somewhere and a sound would happen without much effort at all. Oh, but he has to pull it out, guys. He has to it's like constipation, guys. He's really straining to use the Force to do a simple trick. Anyway, so Mopey-Wan Kenobi finally gets out into the hallway. Yeah, here's the officer, dead or incapacitated or just lying there, just on the floor. And then we cut back to Reva interrogating the 10-year-old. And she starts complaining about the Jedi without complaining about the Jedi. It's like, oh, the people you're going to protect, but then you abandon them. They're not coming for you. She's trying to make Leia lose all hope. You need to tell me where they are. We're on the same side, you see. Yeah, you've really shown you're on the same side. These people, they'll leave you too, just like they left me. I'm so abandoned and alone, and such a tragic figure. And she's like, I just don't want anyone to get hurt. And Reva's like, yes, I promise, no one will be hurt. We're on the same side. And she says, well, let me call my father first. That's okay, right? You said we're all on the same side. Oh, clever Leia. Clever Leia seeing through that deception. Wow. And she's like, oh, you're a clever one. I'll never tell you where they are. Then it's time to make those tears real. What tears? What tears you... At no point does Leia cry or feign crying. Time to make those tears real. Remember, grown adult, 10-year-old child, what a hero. What a role model. Anyway, so, Ben, where are you? Why do you need to ask? You knew exactly where he was when he was in the water to tell him it's right in front of you, even though you've gone through this giant fortress you've never been in before and have no idea what the layout is, but now you need to know where he is. And Obi-Wan, who has no idea of the layout of this place, is supposed to have an answer? Oh, okay. But anyway, Ben, where are you? And he comes up to a door. And can I find the frame on this? Because this is just ridiculous. Okay. Now, for those of you who aren't Star Wars nerds, when you see an Imperial officer and they've got those little metal things on their side in a little pocket, those are called code cylinders, right? They're basically like pass cards. I must have missed it. Where did Obi-Wan Kenobi get a code cylinder? He fought a couple of stormtroopers. He didn't take down any Imperial officers. He didn't take down anybody with access. So anyway, he takes a code cylinder out of nowhere, I guess, and puts it to open up this secure door. You know, this secure door in the super duper max security facility. Anyway, we cut to a torture chamber. Yes, a torture chamber. Not unlike the setup that Han Solo had to go through in Empire Strikes Back, but a torture chamber. This might also be modeled after the same thing that was seen in the Fallen Order video game. Anyway, so a 10-year-old child is strapped to this torture device, and she's calling for help. Please, somebody help! Help me, help me! And then Obi-Wan gets into this giant storage facility. Look at all these cells and these people and stuff. And he's looking around. And if I can find the frame here, come on. Okay, this character, I recognize this character. This is a Jedi. This character was in the Clone Wars series. He was like this very old, crotchety Jedi who used a cane, and one time he was paired up with Ahsoka, and then they had to go and try to solve a mystery, and he was very slow and methodical in his thinking, and Ahsoka wanted to like jump around and do action because she was, Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, and she learned sometimes slow and steady wins the race, and looking around and taking your time is good. Anyway, this guy's here, locked up in, I don't know, amber or something. And he looks around. We keep jumping back. So yeah, Leia's about to be tortured. What are you doing to me? What do you think she's going to do to you? The same thing I do to anyone who doesn't embrace the Empire. Oh, okay. All right, a 10-year-old child. Okay. Real hero here. So Obi-Wan's looking back and forth in these cells, and there's all these various characters that are locked up in amber, except I guess they're not locked up. I guess they're just dead and being held as like trophies or something. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be recognizing some of these characters or if we're going to find out who they are in some prequel shows. I wonder if there's any Andor. No, I guess Andor happens after this, I think. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, a whole bunch of people who I assume are Force users / Jedi, because some of them are recognizably Jedi. This is your last chance, Leia. And we keep cutting back and forth. And, Leia, latent Force user, at no point does Obi-Wan sense that Leia's in danger, this kind of danger. Anyway, machine powering up, yes, because these little, like, spike things are closing in on her. And I don't know who this is, but they linger on this character for a second or three. And I'm like, who are these? I'm assuming they are Force users. And then we see the little youngling looking all shocked and like posed or something. Supposedly all of these people are dead. This is just a trophy room. And yet their faces are open. They're looking ahead. They look like they're alive. Are they in suspended animation? Are they dead? I can't tell. It's very difficult to tell what's going on here. But anyway, so Tala's still in this room. Okay? Remember, she has no clearance to be here. Every person who has looked at her has at least questioned her and her presence here. And Obi-Wan says, Tala, I need a distraction. A distraction? What do you mean? That's all he says. I need a distraction. Well, in this giant facility? Well, what shall I do? So remember, now Tala, let me see if so remember, there's three other people here. At least. The body of the security guy is just lying on the floor over here. There was a stormtrooper standing around earlier. Tala needs to make a distraction. So Reva is about to, torture Leia. She says, you did this to yourself. What are you doing to me? She's going to torture you, you idiot. How are you going to be? Either you're playing dumb or your precociousness is just very convenient. Anyway, so suddenly an officer shows up. Now, for a second, I thought this was Tala. And I was like, how did she get from point? No, this is not Tala. This is some other officer. And she's like, you're needed. I was told it cannot wait. So Tala, a minor Imperial officer from a mining planet who's not supposed to be here, apparently convinced this Imperial officer, who's got a pretty lengthy rank badge there, if I might say, to then go find the Inquisitor somewhere in the bowels of the torture chamber, secured location inside this base, and then said, I was told it cannot wait. Told by who? Well, Reva doesn't even ask. And so they power the machine down. And Reva's standing here. Tala's standing here. Now, if you'll notice, her rank is less than the person who went to bring the message to the Inquisitor. I know, I'm being really nitpicky here, but for crying out loud, I am a Star Wars fan. You would hope the people in charge of this production would be Star Wars fans. Apparently they don't care. You've got a 3 red, 3 blue Imperial officer being ordered around, apparently, by a 3 red, 1 blue. Anyway, so this lady who's not supposed to be here, has no authorization to be in this building, told another Imperial officer who is higher ranked than she is to go fetch the Inquisitor. So the Inquisitor shows up and she says, I understand that you're leading the hunt for the network they call the Path. Just speak, she says. Doesn't ask her name, doesn't ask who she is, doesn't ask why she's here. Right? Okay. I was stationed on Mapuzo when the hunt began. Oh, you're on the mining planet? If you were stationed there, what are you doing here? Which is not asked. They're on Florum, she says, which is not the planet that the Jedi are on. The network runs out of the sector, the Surtar sector. They use a salvage business to launder goods, render new identities. I found evidence before the escape. Okay, so again, and I understand she's not going to be believed here pretty quick, but either way, your plan to try to dupe this lady, obviously you're risking yourself being killed, but whatever. Your plan is to say, I was on the planet you were just on, and I found evidence of where they were going to go, which means that I, lowly Imperial officer nobody, found information that you didn't, and then I decided to come here of my own volition, get inside this secure location without just, radioing in or going on the holonet and telling a superior, because, all of the stormtroopers and all of the Inquisitorius were on the planet at the time, but I just failed to tell anybody about this. And now I'm telling you here. Okay. We need to direct all resources there immediately, says lowly Imperial officer. Unless, of course, you're a spy. You're lying. And then Leia's like in her torture device, kind of looking all whatever. It's like the look on her face. She's like, okay, I'm trapped with the torture device with spikes pointing at me. And I'm like, whatever. And then the lights go out. The lights go out in the torture chamber. And it's then that Obi-Wan Kenobi lights his lightsaber and takes down 2 stormtroopers. A whole 2 stormtroopers in this giant Imperial facility. And he knocks them down, he kills them. And then he lets Leia out, and she says, I knew you weren't dead, or something to that effect. And Obi-Wan's like, we need to get out of here. Come with me. I'm gonna get you home. I'd like to take a moment to talk about word choice. In the previous episode, Obi-Wan Kenobi, talking to Leia, refers to Bail Organa as her dad. Now, I don't know. There's something in me that thinks that in the Star Wars universe, especially when it comes to the Jedi, that word choice and language should be just slightly more romantic. And I'm not talking about like in a love relationship. I'm talking about like classic pathos romantic language. Refer to your, not say dad, but your father, right? Not use words that are a bit too familiar, a bit too concatenated, I'm gonna get you home. How about I'm going to? I know it's a small thing. I get it, but there was just a particular tempo set in the original films that doesn't carry over here, and it's a little jarring when I hear it. Anyway, and then Reva says it makes sense the Path would have people among us. Oh, does it? Okay, well, if that's the case, then your security sucks. And it really does, because somehow she got in here. And look at this. They're underwater. This room is currently underwater. So she went some levels deep into the building without knowing where she was going to get to this location. Right? Actually, no, I take it back. You know what? This is the Inquisitorious meeting room. Look, there's the big high back chair. This is where they were arguing earlier. Okay, so wait. Now I'm even, I'm even more confused. So Tala, who has no security clearance, somehow went from information center down to the Inquisitorious's personal meeting conference room. Makes even less sense. Anyway, okay, so what does not make sense is how an old man and a little girl escaped an Imperial checkpoint on your planet. Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Yeah, even though this is information you had an episode and a half ago, and it then didn't make any sense to flag any missing Imperial officers as possible collaborators and then transmit that information back to the Empire so that if one of them happened to show up at the Fortress of the Inquisitors where Princess Leia was being held, they wouldn't be detected right off the bat. Yeah. That is a really good concern. Amazing that you just suddenly had it now. But anyway, so Reva figures out that she's a spy. She's like, oh, well, when Kenobi came, they panicked, and I forget what this is all about. You expect me to believe this? Look, I couldn't tell anybody. Why not? You're the Empire. It's a stupid story. It's a very stupid story, and it just pads out time. Anyway, so Obi-Wan and little Leia are running through the hallways, and then the secret droid shows up. I don't know if you're lying to me or for me, but we'll see. Because Reva accuses her of being a spy, and she's like, of course I'm a spy. I find out information and do this, that, or the other, da-da-da. You don't know if she's lying? Really? Why don't you mind read her? Why don't you hold out your hand and mind read her? Or is Tala also going to be too strong a person to be mind read? As soon as you introduce the tool of instantaneous mind reading to your character and you're not using it all the time, it makes no sense. But anyway, so Reva's not sure if this person is lying to her, this stammering, story-changing, how the heck did you get here person. She's not sure. So then the alarms start going off because only now is it discovered that something's wrong. And then Obi-Wan comes over the comm. Remember the little cell phone comm thing? Apparently Tala left it on in this conversation. And Obi-Wan says over the comm, Tala, we're in the open. Can I find the frame? Tala then disables and kills, or whatever, 2 stormtroopers. Through their armor. She hits them on their helmet. I wish I could play this for you. She karate chops one of them on his helmet and then smacks the other one down and then shoots them and takes their gun and... Okay. Anyone, so Obi-Wan has to fight a seeker droid, a little security droid, and a couple of stormtroopers. He tells Leia to hide. Look at the layout of this hallway. Leia, hide. Here she is. With laser bolts going back and forth and him smacking him around. Anyway, so then they're going down the hallway. So you have Reva, you have some kind of super trooper, and a bunch of stormtroopers. And Obi-Wan's in this tunnel. This tunnel with all this water. You see, it's an underwater tunnel. Right? What do you think these windows are made out of? Well, in Star Wars lore, they would be made out of transparasteel, right? They would be, I'm assuming in a real world situation, they would have been tested against the kind of pressures you would encounter underwater. They'd be the same kind of stuff they use in the windows on a Star Destroyer, probably. Right? Yeah, probably. Okay. At least blaster resistant, you would think, right? Well, no. One blaster bolt apparently went astray. Anyway, sorry. I'm missing the important stuff here. Obi-Wan redirects a blaster bolt to hit the door controls and close the door. One blaster bolt hit a window, and now it's all cracked and about to break. Because the glass in this tunnel is made of sugar or something. Anyway, so Obi-Wan uses the Force to try to hold back the window from breaking and hold back the entire ocean of water. And then Tala shows up. She shows up ahead of the Inquisitor and from a different direction. Tala, get her out of here. I'll hold it. And he's holding the glass, and and Tala and Leia run. And she's breathing heavily, and she just stands there. Right? She's supposed to get Leia to safety, but no, she's just standing there. He's holding it, he's straining. The stormtrooper's trying to force the door open, right? Obi-Wan's straining, and all of a sudden, he lets it go. Now, if you'll notice, the stormtroopers are here. Obi-Wan was here down the hallway, right? Here's the window. There's at least one window in front of him, etc., right? And if you can barely see on this little preview thing down here, because I can't find the frame, there's two windows in front of him at least. He's like 10 feet away from these guys, right? Okay. And he lets it go. They're coming in, and the water explodes right next to them. What? But this was the window. This is the window that's cracked. Here's the doorway, and then Tala has to yell at Obi-Wan as the water is rushing in, run. Because obviously Obi-Wan would just stand there and drown to death. He needs to be told to run. And he amazingly gets out of the hallway, and she closes the door before the water rushes in and takes them down too. You know, the full force of an entire ocean pushing on those windows. And she closes it in time. And then, of course, it doesn't do anything to the door that closed. But anyway, okay. This won't hold for long. It shouldn't hold at all, but hey, whatever. Bunch of stormtroopers are drowned. Now, where's Reva? Reva was with the stormtroopers. Why isn't she drowned? Why isn't the whole thing drowned because the door was open behind them? I don't know. Who cares? Whatever. They're going to sneak out. How are they sneaking out? Obi-Wan in a trench coat with Leia underneath the trench coat walking beside him through hallways and so on of the most tightly secured Imperial facility in the sector, the Fortress Inquisitorius, with dozens and dozens and dozens of stormtroopers, officers, who knows what else around. And Obi-Wan Kenobi and his hat and his miraculously acquired giant trench coat with Leia walking beside him underneath it. This is the scene, guys. Security personnel all over the place. Obi-Wan Kenobi without a mask on or a hood. And let's also keep in mind a beard. You notice how none of the Imperial officers in this place have facial hair? Notice how they're all clean shaven? Almost like it's, I don't know, dress code or something? Like a military regimented kind of deal? Now, but Obi-Wan, beard, who cares? Anyway, so then the other Inquisitors show up and they're useless. And they're walking through past all these people. Leia's underneath. Nobody notices. And then all of a sudden, Leia pops out from underneath the coat. Stormtroopers still walking around. They're standing there as Reva shows up. Then you die. Obi-Wan's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? except I have a lightsaber and whatever. Anyway, and then out of nowhere, 2 speeders show up. Remember the snow speeders from Empire Strikes Back? Yeah, the snow speeders show up and fire with scalpel accuracy into this hangar bay, where earlier we saw a shot, and I couldn't find the frame, obviously, of TIE fighters and all types of stuff. There were TIE fighters sitting in a rack up there. But they don't matter. Nobody detected these things coming in, of course, because one of the most secure facilities in the Empire, holding Jedi corpses and interrogating Jedi, it doesn't have any radar, it doesn't have any detection nets or nothing, it doesn't have any other patrol ships like every other Imperial situation has now. So they fly in there and they start shooting everything, and somehow they blow up everybody except Obi-Wan, Leia, and Tala, and Reva, by the way. And so they run towards the exit of the hangar. They don't go towards their own shuttle because that's now compromised. So instead, they get into one of the speeders. I want you to look at this speeder for a second. I want you to think back to Empire Strikes Back. I want you to think back to how much, quote-unquote, carrying capacity a snow speeder had. The answer is none. It had room for a pilot and a gunner. But this speeder has a cargo hold that is going to hold 3 extra people. Just somehow. Right? Where are these doors coming from? The cockpit's right here. Like, what? The entire backside of a speeder is an engine. There's nothing there. There's no cargo hold. This isn't meant for transporting goods. It is a fighter. That's it. It is a stripped down fighter. Anyway, they get into the speeder, which is now apparently modified to be a cargo hold thing, because where are the engines and the rest of the... And then Wade. Oh, remember Wade? Yeah, Wade, the best character ever. Well, he's here in this other speeder that is not modified for cargo. They had one that was modified for cargo, so they were banking everything on that one ship being able to carry 3 people out. And she uses the Force, Reva does, to throw a box, what, like half a mile? Look at the distance of this ship at this point compared to where it was. Yeah, so she uses the Force to throw a box, hits the ship and destroys it, and it crashes into the ocean. And she's like, Wade! Yeah, Wade. Oh, he was such a great character. Oh, no, Wade. I don't know who this person's name is because they never said, or they said it once and I never paid attention because I don't care. And they fly off. Now, of course, the thing I don't understand is, where's the second ship? Oh, is that it there? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll correct myself. This is the Leia Obi-Wan ship. Over here is Wade's ship. So she throws the box, destroys Wade's ship, Wade crashes and dies. And they get away. And these guys look on helplessly as Obi-Wan, Leia, Tala, and pilot lady fly away. Yeah, because they have no TIE fighters, even though we saw TIE fighters in an earlier shot. They have no capital ships in orbit around the planet, because why would you in an Imperial stronghold? No, they just fly off. Goodbye. And the 5th brother grunts at Reva. And then Darth Vader shows up. Oh my gosh, Darth Vader is here. Really? When did he show up? On what ship? How did he not detect Obi-Wan Kenobi within spitting distance of himself? Oh, okay, so Vader's been here for some unknown period of time. We never saw him arrive. So he's just here now. Okay. And he said, "You were warned what defeat would bring." I will tolerate your weakness no longer. Oh, but we're suddenly underwater again. Now we're in the conference room. Okay, so they were in the conference room, Darth Vader stuff. So this is some time later, I guess, but the cut is so immediate that you wouldn't know it, and you don't see Vader arrive, so why? Anyway, either Vader was here or he just showed up. I don't know. They don't tell us. Anyway, so I will tolerate your weakness no longer. Her weakness, you were ready to give her the job of Grand Inquisitor last episode. You were like all about this girl last episode, but all of a sudden now I will tolerate your weakness. Okay. And he's like, ah, ha, ha, kill her. I can get her out of my way. And she says, I let them go. I'm not kidding. She says, I let them go. Because Reva had it all planned out, you see. I put a tracker on their ship. You did. And I'm sitting there going like, how the heck did you put a tracker on their ship? Tala came in on a shuttle that she abandoned, and they were rescued by speeders that just showed up. How did you put a tracker on their ship? And Vader just believes her. Says, it seems I have underestimated you. Well, I guess he could tell that she wasn't lying, I guess. You're certain the tracker is with him. He's like, yeah. Where he goes, it will follow. Now, see, the speeder is still off in the air. I think this is why my sense of continuity and time got all screwed up, because they immediately cut from that office to the speeder still flying around, which seems like it wouldn't have been more than maybe a minute or two after it escaped, but they were already in this conference room. And so not much time has passed. I have to assume Vader was already on the planet when this was all going on, but he didn't detect Kenobi. There are no Imperial ships around. The speeder meets up with its mothership, the ship that brought it into the system. So again, there are no Imperial starships in this system. There's no Imperial detection net. There's no TIE fighters. And the speeder lands on this little cargo ship, and then it takes off into space. And then they all come in, and pilot guy shows up, and he's like, where's Wade? And I'm like, dude, let's think about this for a second. You sent out 2 speeders, and 1 landed. Where do you think Wade is? Also, I just want to ask, because I'm not sure just by the logistics of this. Let me see if I can skip ahead here. Can this thing fit 2 speeders on it? I mean, I guess it can. I don't know. Anyway, so he's like, where's Wade? And they're like, he's dead. And they're all sad. Guess your soldiers now after all. Yeah, there was some comment made back when they were planning all this. It's like, we're not soldiers. I guess you're soldiers now that you died. Anyway, they're sad. Everybody's sad. Leia's sad. Tala brings a drink to girl name pilot for some reason, not to Leia or Obi-Wan, who have just like almost been tortured and or just fought for their lives. No, I guess they're just fine. And then Leia holds Obi-Wan's hand, and Obi-Wan's like, what? And they're holding hands, and she smiles at him, and he smiles at her. Oh boy. Oh boy. And then we pan down to the droid is here. Oh my gosh. At some point, Reva put the droid back into the pocket of Leia's poncho, and Leia never noticed this. And the droid is evil now. You can tell by the red light. The droid is now the tracking device. And then we cut to black, and then the show's over. Written by Joby Harold and Hannah Friedman. Well, I guess that's who we have to blame for how ridiculous and stupid and inconsistent and nonsensical this entire episode was. Just setting aside everything established in Star Wars canon as to the very basics of how the Empire operates, and you have an absolute garbage fire. So narrative inconsistencies, character inconsistencies, absence of logic run rampant through this. And it was bad. It was terrible. The part I hated the most was Reva calling Obi-Wan to Leia's face, because that's like, okay, well, you've just done away with that. You've done away, unless you're going to employ something stupid like I'm going to erase Leia's memory, or something, or something like, now Leia, you must forget that you met me. You must never again say that you knew who Obi-Wan Kenobi was. And a lot of the press talking about how Reva is like supposed to be this role model and representative for girls and all. I'm like, she's space Gestapo who just tortured or attempted to torture a 10-year-old girl. Yeah, what a role model, what a hero. Like she's a villain. She's supposed to have some kind of redemption arc by the end of this. I'm like, well, she's got 2 episodes to do it, I guess. To go from hateful, spiteful, 10-year-old torturing grown adult to somehow redeeming herself. Anyway, there you go, guys. That's the excitement that was Obi-Wan Episode 4. Texas Attorney General secreted, do they not have TIE Fighter stationed? They do. There's actually a establishing shot, as we first come into the fortress, that shows TIE Fighters in a rack right there in the launch bay. They do. Yeah. So how does the airspeeder leave the planet? It has no hyperdrive on board. That's what I was thinking. Because I was thinking, how the heck did those things get there in the first place? Oh, well, they were brought in on a transport. Okay, that explains that. How did the transport get to the planet without authorization codes, without being tracked down or intercepted by TIE fighters or Star Destroyer? There are none. There are none there. They had to show us that establishing shot of the planet where there's nothing around. A Imperial stronghold world. No name. Snow speeders were originally modified cargo speeders. Their cargo carriers parts were removed and replaced with lasers after stripping them down to increase their speed. Aha. Okay. Well then, I must be wearing orthopedic shoes because I stand corrected. You got me. I will rescind my complaint on that one. Bridget. You know, there's another series that's getting a continuation by someone other than the original creator. Berserk will be finished by Miura's friend. I'm sure that series will actually be respected. Yeah, that is one of the most frustrating things of watching this show. You just know, and there's articles that are starting to hint that the people who ran this show, wrote for this show, have absolutely no idea or appreciation for the sandbox they're playing in. And certainly with the title character. The title character who has to groan like he's been eating too much fiber just to use the force to move a little thing or to make a sound effect to distract some guards. Who has to be told to run when a giant wall of water is coming at him. Why didn't she interrogate the pilot? Oh, yeah, the guy that was waiting for Tala and Leia. Why didn't she interrogate him? Why didn't they capture the ship that was supposed to be taking them away anyway? How did Tala and the droid get Obi-Wan from that sand pit all the way to whatever ship they had waiting for them without being intercepted by the stormtroopers, the inquisitors, Darth Vader, whatever. It just, there was some fire there, guys. There was some fire between Darth Vader and them last episode. It can't get past fire. Darth Vader's suit hasn't been built to be fire resistant because obviously the last thing Darth Vader would want to have resistance to is flame. No. It's fine. It's fine. No name. They could not carry more people than the 2 pilots, though. You were correct on that part. Well, apparently it's been remodified to have enough room for 3 people and life support and everything. Although obviously it wasn't going out of orbit, but whatever. And Texas Attorney General Secret, I smell a Wade spinoff series. We need more details on this key character who died a tragic death at the hands of the Emperor. Yeah, I know. Yeah, imagine if not Wade's ship had been knocked down. Where would Leia and Obi-Wan and them have gone then? Because Wade's ship wasn't modified. Well, I guess put all your eggs in one basket. 2 speeders against an Imperial fortress. Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'm going to call it there. A couple of programming notes. First and foremost, as usual, tomorrow, Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing another episode of TED Excellence. I'll take another look at an off-brand TED Talk for information and fun. I call it Funmation. No. And then Saturday, scheduled right now for Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be doing a Familiar with the Matter with Christopher Cooksey. Now, who's Christopher Cooksey, you might ask? Well, Christopher Cooksey is a filmmaker. He made a horror film called Quantum Terror, and I've recently appeared on his channel / podcast a couple of times talking about horror and Lovecraft and types of stuff, and I thought, hey, it'd be cool to find out what it was like making your... I think it's his first film, and it's already like it's going to be on Tubi, and it's all places. Anyway, I'm going to be talking to Christopher about making his film and other things, so look forward to that on Saturday. And then, of course, on Sunday, per usual, at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, the Sunday stream, where I'll do a stream about a thing. Don't know yet. We'll find out together. But with that, everyone, I want to thank you for joining me on this odyssey of stupidity. I'll be back here again next Wednesday for the 5th and penultimate episode of the Obi-Wan series. I haven't watched Miss Marvel yet. I don't know if I will. And if I do, I don't know if I'll do a stream on it, but maybe. We'll see. Elsewise, everybody, I hope you all had a good time here, I guess I mean. Thank you for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody, hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. No, it's not Thursday, it's Wednesday. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. That's what I meant. I hope you're all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon. And I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.